Xbox Live.
Hey, guess who's live, y'all?
Listening uppercuts.
Hello, everybody. I am excited to bring you the first ever episode of a new podcast called Underneath the NFL. So essentially what we do is I, your host, Kaleb Houghton, will go through some of the most asked questions in football. We will also port things like cheating scandals. We'll be talking a lot about these guys. So we'll talk. So we do plan on talking about cheating scandals, some conspiracy theories in the NFL, and maybe even some of the most obvious moments missed by whether it's officiating crews or players, even fans who are just not finding any of this. The NFL just proposed a new CBA that got accepted. A player vote of 1019 to 959 with 500 unvoted players. We will get to that hopefully today, but we are going to discuss the most asked question in all of football. Is the NFL rigged?
Is it rigged?
That's our inaugural show today here on Underneath the NFL. I am joined today by two very special guests. Give it up for the residential assistant in Elliott Hall.
Yeah.
That is Jacob Ford, everybody.
What's
He
up?
is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
I am a Steelers fan.
And it is getting rough already for him.
It's
already quite the off season. And then my other guest is the vice president of podcast for Cardinal Sports Live. He is Nathan Beagle.
Hey. Let's talk sports, baby.
Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
Nice.
We got our own sound effects here. Whoa,
Yeah, we are not quite.
whoa.
Whoa.
Calm that cough down, dude.
Coronavirus.
My Steelers would be in the playoffs. They would have made it.
Under the new CBA, yes, the Steelers would be in the playoffs.
Wow.
Well, before we get into our topic, I guess I might as well ask the question about the new CBA. Did you like it? Did you not like it?
I like it. I think I do think it'll be different. I think it'll be an adjustment, but I think it's for the best, honestly. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it.
I do support it. They also, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, they took out one less week of the preseason.
I like that a
So
lot.
we can jump straight into the action. I'm so happy for that. But now there's just teams like that, the mediocre teams that like the Cowboys can get in.
Yeah.
But that also brings more excitement because only the number one pick or the number one seeded team gets the bye, so it just brings out more value in those wins.
Right.
And I'm a big fan of upsets, so I can't wait to see that first. What was it, 7?
You're the first 7 seed to make it to the Super Bowl or something.
Ooh, that's gonna be something.
I mean that opening weekend will be crazy. There'll be so many games that'll be really fun for
6
fans.
games wild card weekend.
6 games for wild card weekend. I think that'll be super fun for fans. I mean, you could even have Red Zone channel for the playoffs now.
That's right.
Or
Yeah.
something like that. I think it'll be cool. I also, though, I'm a little I don't know, because even as a Steeler fan, I don't even know if we deserved to be in it, because we were pretty freaking awful.
They said under the new proposed CBA, the Steelers and Rams would have made the playoffs.
And, I don't think the Rams really should be in it, but
for God's sakes, the Steelers beat the Rams.
I don't know if I really would have wanted to see a Doug Hodges-led Steeler team in the playoffs.
You guys would face Kansas City, too.
Yeah, so...
That would have been rough.
Oh, that would have been terrible. Oof.
Yeah, but I think teams will play harder.
Meanwhile, the Packers are going to play the Rams on opening day of the playoffs.
Wow.
And I think the Rams could have potentially beat Green Bay.
Ooh, that's
maybe, yeah.
juicy.
You never know. I mean, there'll be chances for upsets, too,
We'll see this time next year.
We'll see.
If
Well,
the
with
corona
that-
don't kill us all.
Well, with that being said, it's time to talk about is the NFL rigged. We're going to go around the table real quick, and I'm going to let each of these guys kind of describe to you a little bit. Give me one reason why you think it's rigged and one reason why you don't think it's rigged. Jacob.
Okay. I want to think it's not rigged, but I definitely think it could be rigged. It's a huge business, and there's a lot of money involved, especially say one team wins here versus another team. So, but I want to believe that it's not rigged as a fan. I want to believe it's not rigged, and I think it might not be rigged, just given that there's so many different factors, I feel like it'd be hard to actually rig it because you have all these owners, all these big personalities. I feel like it'd be pretty hard to like rig it all.
I don't know, man. You tell a billionaire that he's going to be a billionaire and he's just never going to win a Super Bowl.
That's true.
I think you take the money.
I agree. Yeah, that's true.
I am a huge believer that this is definitely rigged. It is a business, and the ratings, the money, it's all behind it. I know, for one example, handing the ball off to beast mode on the 2-yard line, that is very controversial. Helps your boy get another ring. I think that's mainly the main reason, but another one that always got me too was Ray Lewis announced his retirement, and then he goes off on a ring.
Yeah, the sunset. Peyton Manning and all these people just leaving right after they win a Super Bowl. It's just a little odd to me.
It's gonna sound a little wild, but I know it came from the Onion. But I saw
came from the Onion.
Came from the Onion.
But I feel like that Seahawks and Broncos Super Bowl was rigged. That first snap, just going over that, like, I get antics are high, literally, but it just I just don't know how to put it, but it just doesn't happen like that way.
Wasn't that the Super Bowl in the MetLife Stadium out in New York?
Yeah, I think so.
I heard something that said that the NFL rigged that Super Bowl so they wouldn't have to go to the East Coast anymore. Because people would be like, well, the last time they were there, the game was sloppy and it was a blowout. Because people don't like the cold environment. People didn't want to go because it was going to be cold. So people think the NFL would possibly rig the Super Bowl that year to make it a blowout and not so good. People wouldn't want the Super Bowl to go back.
I know they want big market cities and big market teams.
Exactly.
And if you look like in the past, like a lot of like small market teams don't really always win the Super Bowl. And yeah, it's just pretty clear like that.
Yeah, I definitely like looking at the Patriots. I could see some reasons for why it could be rigged. I mean, a lot of sketchy stuff has happened revolving around the Patriots. I mean, like I always like to say, like, Tom Brady's got like 2 rings that he shouldn't have. Like, first of all, like you said, give the ball to beast mode. That's a ring Brady doesn't have. And then the Falcons, just sit on the ball. Just sit on the ball.
Hand the ball off.
Like, run out the
clock. That's 2 rings. You just got to run.
That's 2 rings Tom Brady wouldn't have. He would actually have a losing record in Super Bowls, a bad record in Super Bowls, yet he's the GOAT right now because of that. So,
see, some people still say LeBron James is the GOAT, though, and he has a losing record in the finals.
Yeah.
But he's not the GOAT.
But people say
because the NBA's rigged.
See, the NBA already came
Joe Montana was always supposed to be the GOAT. The NFL's been rigged for 50 years. Some people actually do believe that every single year the champion is chosen before the season even starts.
Now, I'm not as crazy to think it's every year, but I just feel like there's some instances, there's some occasional games, and like we even saw it with like the Rams and the Rams and Saints NFC Championship game a couple years so back with the missed pass interference call that was so obvious.
Sorry, we just missed
somebody
it.
won at LA in the playoffs. I mean, in the Super Bowl. Yeah.
New England? Question mark.
New England. Yeah, exactly.
I feel like every single one of these is gonna be like New England did it. It's all right. New England did it.
Yeah.
The cheaters.
Well, just because there are conspiracy theories that go good doesn't mean there are always conspiracy theories that go bad. Some conspiracy theories try, and then they just don't work. Like the most common one that I read about is the Packers-Steelers Super Bowl. The Steelers were supposed to win that Super Bowl, but somewhere along the lines, a ref misthrew a flag or an extra call was made at the wrong time. The Packers ended up winning the game, but they weren't supposed to. Thoughts?
I dig it because coming from a Bears fan, I really hate the Packers, and that just
I hate the Packers too.
Yeah, see, we're on the same boat in that.
I hate the Packers. I have a lot of friends who are Wisconsin and Packer fans, and I just that's why I don't like it. I want them to suffer.
Right. I always get to suffer. Why can't they?
Also, it's like it was a good story for Aaron Rodgers to get his first Super Bowl. That was a good story.
Just imagine if Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean,
that would be good for everybody.
It'd be good. Yeah.
No one likes Aaron Rodgers.
Rashard Mendenhall, Steelers running back. He fumbled. That was the game. He fumbled. Maybe he was in on it. Then he retired shortly after.
He was like,
Fumble the ball.
He retired super young, went and became like a writer or something. So maybe he was in on it.
Yeah, see, me as a fan of professional wrestling, like I look at all this stuff and I'm like, ooh, it kind of reminds me of like fantasy booking. Like the Steelers are supposed to win the Super Bowl. They're the John Cena. Like they're supposed to be the guy, and then some guy like the Packers or an I like to call Fandango come along and then just screw it all up and he just pins Cena clean, and everyone's like, what just happened? That's what that Super Bowl felt like to me. So I could technically believe, that the Steelers might have, or maybe he wasn't supposed to fumble that ball, and the Steelers were supposed to go down and score with ref help.
I mean,
But that fumble was obvious.
Yeah,
like, it wasn't one of those that could be like, ooh, well, maybe, and then overturn the call. But no, it was obvious that the ball came out.
This is like 2010. This is prime Big Ben.
Yeah, that was the year. Like, there's two good stories. I mean, Ben came off his suspension. He sat out first like 4 games. Then they had a great record.
They did the same thing with Brady.
Yeah, basically.
They did the same thing with Brady.
He went to Super Bowl.
Which, speaking of that, that's the other most commonly known conspiracy theory in the NFL. The Falcons were supposed to blow that Super Bowl.
I can see it.
I could see that for sure.
This theory states that the NFL paid off the Falcons players before they gave them their Super Bowl bonuses anyway and said, go out there and blow the game.
I mean, that's very possible.
Get up early. Let's make Brady look great.
They had the game in the bag.
It was 28-3.
They just had to sit on the ball, and Kyle Shanahan kept throwing.
The man is known to blow Super Bowls now. It's 2.
It's 2 now.
That's 2.
I mean, speaking of which, you think maybe that's a story the NFL's been working on? He just can't
gotta
win the big one, and then another Andy Reid type story.
There you go.
I mean, now Andy Reid does have one, so he's like...
Kyle Shanahan may have just got another check,
Hey, maybe the NFL was like, hey, we need him to win this one too. And he's like, really? Why me? Why me?
Ooh, no one get me the fail Mary. Like, you know how that call, like, it's so obvious that, well, who came out on top? The Seahawks? Yeah, so it was obvious that it was intercepted, but it wasn't, apparently. Or the 49ers-Ravens Super Bowl and the lights went out.
Oh, there you go.
And, like, they couldn't find the power switch for, like, 20 minutes. Like, it took forever for them to, like, turn them back on.
Super Bowl. Yeah, like
the theory on that one is very, very far-fetched.
Flip.
The theory on that is very, very far-stretched, but it was the theory basically states that the NFL said turn the lights out because the 49ers players were not well rested. So they wanted to give them that 20 minutes of rest to help them get back into the ball game. And it worked.
It did.
The reason I think that's far-fetched is because, I mean, the Ravens were just so much better than them.
Oh, yeah. They were dominating
offense and defense. Like, there was no way.
And then Colin Kaepernick hasn't been the same since.
He never was the same after that.
I mean, the Harbaugh Bowl, like, just those teams getting there. Great story, you know.
And the other big thing about that is that was a potential another botch. Maybe someone said the Niners are supposed to come back and win it.
Yeah.
At the very end.
And that's why Colin Kaepernick's been treated the way he has, because he failed to do it.
At the very end, there was a real controversial pass interference call on Michael. Like, it wasn't called, but like some people said it should have been for Michael Crabtree, so they would have gotten one more chance at the end zone. And it would have put him on the 1-yard line. Like, unless they're not, they're not Pete Carroll, they're going to maybe hand the ball off. And just all these what ifs.
I mean, it hurts that Joe Flacco has a Super Bowl.
Oh,
gosh. Like, why?
Yikes.
That hurts me as a Steeler fan.
But for a quick moment, I want you two to kind of discuss a little bit about what it would take to rig a game. To just kind of tell our audience, how is it possible to rig these games?
This ain't the first time I thought about this, so let me formulate what 3 things you need. You need the referees in on it, you need the offensive line, and you need the coach. Because, quarterback ain't going to do anything without his line, so, like, he can potentially not know, and then he's just getting sacked. And refs call holding calls, or, to throw a couple, lame penalties in there, here and there, or the lineman jumps off sides on like a third down, or You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
On
Yeah.
third down, they do a false start or something. And then the coach, like Kyle Shanahan, yeah, we'll pass. Pete Carroll, yeah, we'll throw it.
Yeah, I think in order for it to happen, I think the refs have to be involved with it. They have to be in on it. And I think that's easy to do. I think that's like no one
It's
is
the
like
guy signing their
no one's
checks.
team ref, so but that wouldn't be hard. And you see it all the time, like with lopsided calls and all the time. I think you would have to, like you said, probably a coach, probably multiple coaches on the staff involved, and I think maybe even like a player like Brady or someone who's like a big time
Significant.
player who like needs like who if they found out about it could like ruin it. Like they need to make sure the people like some people are in on it like the big time players. So I think it's like it's hard. I mean, these players like put so much time and work into becoming an NFL player, and they want to win Super Bowls. Like it's their dream. Like since they were a little kid, it's like, are you really gonna get all these dudes that have worked their whole lives to like accomplish one thing, like win a Super Bowl, to throw a game? And I guess money would do that. But
Money does some weird things
it's
to
like,
people.
I feel like it'd be hard to get all these people on board to be able to rig it like so easily, like for like in the big picture stuff. So like you said, maybe there's times where they try and they fail too. So
Right.
All right. Going back to 3 Super Bowls ago, the Eagles-Patriots rematch.
Ooh.
Before the Super Bowl happened, actually it was during Wild Card Weekend, a commercial aired during the ESPN broadcast for 5 seconds before they immediately took it down, showing the Vikings and the Patriots for Super Bowl.
Wow.
Super Bowl, was it 52? Yeah, it was 52. Super Bowl 52. Eagles, it was Vikings and Patriots.
Wow.
And then the Minneapolis Miracle happened.
yeah,
I mean, think about it. Lattimore it was Lattimore, right? That like botched the tackle. He took out his own teammate.
yeah.
Like
All he had to do was stand back there, be the last man of defense, just stand on the goal line, and he comes up, and like.
And like, here's the thing: all he had to do was push him out of bounds. He didn't even have to tackle him. He just had to be in the vicinity, and he literally just tucks his head. The one thing you don't do in football, and like I played football in high school, and you never lead with your head. And this is a pro doing that. What? What?
I could see it.
I mean, I was going nuts because it was crazy. It was a cool play, but I'm just like, what?
No, this raised a lot of eyebrows. Everybody said, "Oh, this just confirms that the NFL is rigged." And the NFL that week said, "Hey, we have to do something," and turned the full story into an actual thing. So, according to this theory, the Eagles were never supposed to even be in that Super Bowl.
We don't get the Philly special. Nick Foles isn't a legend. Wow.
Because it was supposed to be the Vikings. But after that commercial aired, the NFL had to do something about it.
Wow. Oh, I think I remember this being a thing. Wow. So much nostalgia.
So what they did was that week, again, the same theory. They think they paid the Vikings players their Super Bowl, like, in quotation marks, their Super Bowl money to not beat Philadelphia.
Wow. I mean, they got the money to pull it off.
Yeah.
Wow.
And here, and the other thing about this theory is the Vikings players were so outraged that that's why they got blown out. They just didn't even show up to play. They didn't even care.
That is true.
Which would explain their demeanor, especially in the second half.
I mean,
They just didn't want to be there.
That's true.
And the game really wasn't all that far away in the first half. It was only like 17-7 or something.
Just imagine, being a fan of like the Vikings, and I think it was in Minneapolis. Yeah, it was. And you just have to sit there and watch your team suck. Like,
Yeah.
Now, this theory
getting
doesn't
paid.
show you who's supposed to win that Super Bowl, but seeing as how the Patriots lost to the Eagles, they assume that the original theory is the Vikings beat New England.
get their first Super Bowl ever.
The Case Keenum story, I guess, was the angle they went
And
with.
Yeah,
now
I just-
where he's at now.
Because Keenum had a great year that year.
He did. It's just so unlikely for Keenum to actually go and win a Super Bowl. But I guess
Yeah.
it would be a good story. But I just think to pay all of those Minnesota Vikings players to do that, like you'd think one of them would spill the beans.
Yeah,
one of them, like this would come out. So, like, is it really? Are they really keeping it that tight? Like they're like I don't know.
Illuminati.
I think it's. I'd be shocked if that's the case.
Well, see, yeah, I am one that believes that the players can't be involved in this because
Like their legacy is gonna be on the line, and it's like, that ultimately alters what.
right, which
could
is
be.
why most people say that. Well, these theories can't be true because the players would have said something by now. And I was like, okay, but this could go through the front office. And maybe the guys in the front office, their Super Bowl bonus is like, hey, you guys played great this year. Thanks for getting us here. Here's a little extra cash for you. When it's actually what they don't realize is their Super Bowl bonus. There's a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah.
It all has to flow together. I know the NBA was pretty big in 2002, the Western Conference. The Kings were supposed to beat the Kobe and Shaq Lakers, but refs missed calls and stuff. Well, some self-budgeted producer made a movie back in November this past year, and he got interviews with those refs, and they spilled we rigged the series. Do you think
Yikes.
something 10, 15 years from now, something like this will come out we blew the Super Bowl 43 years, something like that?
Yeah, well, yeah, especially
When they're
in
old
the years
and,
past where social media wasn't as prevalent.
Mhm.
I mean,
it could come out. Something could come out.
And not everyone's going to be able to keep it quiet forever.
Exactly,
Mhm.
but are people going to believe that person too?
Well,
they
all
can-
the NFL has to do is only tell the people whose credibility they
Yeah.
can destroy.
Exactly.
Right. Man.
Yeah.
I hope so. I could be Aaron Rodgers didn't win that ring. Yeah. It was supposed to be the Bears that year.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be the Bears. No. Jake Cutler was backing up on a bicycle instead of backpedaling in the pocket. Oh, Lord.
I do think. I mean, owners have a lot of power. I mean, they have the money. I mean, like I said, I think refs would be easy to get the refs in on it. So I mean, the owners could, and the NFL could have these storylines that they want to have happen, and they can do everything in their power to do what they can do to make that storyline happen, whether it happens or not. Maybe it happens sometimes, maybe it doesn't. But that could be a factor. That could be something. Yeah.
With all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it is coming close to the end of our 30-minute increment for you. I just wanted to say that I know this podcast probably felt a little rushed. We talked about a whole lot in a very small amount of time. But that's because we had to set the tone. Everything we talked about in this podcast will break down in single episodes by themselves. I just wanted to give you a glimpse as to what we're going to be going through in the future. Whether these two are with me or not is yet to be known. I know I will be here giving and talking to you about what the NFL likes to sweep under the rug. Next week's episode, which I do plan on recording. Actually, I might even start recording them during the week. Just
do it.
just because I only have a few weeks left before I graduate. I don't know how much more times I'm going to be in this podcast room, so I feel like I need to put in as many episodes as I can get to before the end of the semester. So we'll see. But the next episode, for sure, we will be discussing the Saints-Rams blown pass interference call. So I can't wait to get to that. I have plenty to say about that one. This is the reason we didn't bring it up in this one.
I'm sorry, Drew. I'm sorry, Drew.
But don't worry, because from what I read, it's all part of a master plan.
Stay tuned to figure out what the master plan is.
Stay tuned. I mean, you guys are more than welcome to come back. for that
Hands
episode.
down.
I mean, I would.
The
I'm
Corona
down.
don't take me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm.
Worst case scenario is if we're to a point where we can't come into here, I'll just pull it up on my laptop. It'll be poor quality for sure, but
I'm pretty sure I'm immune, so I think I'm good.
Sweet.
well, that's awesome. Well, I can't wait. I can't wait to tell you guys all about how the NFL is rigged in so many ways. And who knows, maybe one of these days we can have some professionals up here talking about the rigged NFL, possibly former players. I will be reaching out to some former players like Pat
Yeah,
McAfee,
let's get some players up here. Yeah.
who could possibly even just a phone interview, where even if he doesn't do it live, I can come on and we can discuss what he talked about.
Look them in the eyes and tell them. Ask them, is it rigged?
You can't lie to me, Pat.
Is it rigged?
Is it rigged?
We may never know, but all of us up here for sure believe it is, except for him.
I'm on the fence.
Hop over that fence because it's rigged.
I will say I do believe the NBA is more rigged than the NFL.
Oh, for sure it is.
Yeah,
Because it's easier to rig NBA.
It's
definitely. Fewer
All
players
of-
involved.
yeah,
cheating,
oh, that's a foul. There's 2 free throws. You win.
free throw. Gosh, yeah.
Why do you think? Yeah. Why do you think James?
If they're
Harden
professional
gets
basketball players, how are they missing free throws? Come on.
it? Right. Yeah. For real.
Shaq.
Yeah. Just hack a shack
Yeah.
became a thing. But yeah, I mean that's really about it. And I really don't know how to close this show, so I'm gonna look you in the eye. The NFL's rigged.
Amen.
And then before I hit the end, I'm going to wait till I stare into that screen.
That was a real dramatic pause.